Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you all, of course, avoid all the colds and flus and things of this season, something which I've unsuccessfully managed to do so far, but hopefully things are getting better. So, I just thought I'd come to you today with an update of what I read in October and what I am reading or plan to read in the month of November. So, starting off in October, I was hosting a group read of Lorna Dune, and I was a very poor host because in the end I didn't manage to finish the book. I did get about 2/3 of the way through it, and it is a fantastic book, although November crept up on me and I was a bit busy at the end of October with a family visit here in the Czech Republic. So I didn't manage to finish. So I've read it before, so it is a reread for me, albeit it was over 20 years ago. I decided to put it in the collection of books that I have to finish off for the year in December, so I will finish it then. And joining that will be Creation by Gore Vidal as well, which is quite a big book, which I also didn't manage to finish. However, I did finish a few books. I was part of a group read organised by Very Literary Carrie of SPQR, A History of Ancient Rome by Mary Beard. I read most of the book. I read like the beginning and the end, and then the middle part I ended up listening to the audiobook, which was quite nice because it was like receiving a very interesting and fun lecture, although sadly the audiobook wasn't read by Beard herself, but the woman who did read it was excellent. She was very good. It's, if you know Mary Beard, she's a fantastic classicist. She's a good advertisement for classics, an ambassador for classics, certainly within the UK. And she's just a great writer. I really loved her book on Pompeii, and this also is a very interesting history as well of ancient Rome, although it does require probably some knowledge of the subject before going into it. There's kind of a lot of politics, but towards the end you get the social history as well, which is fascinating. And yeah, anyone who has an interest in it, I would certainly recommend that. The rest of the books that I'm going to talk about from October are on my Kindle. So I've been doing a Gothic kind of readathon with Vin at Revenant Reads, and in order to catch him up, I read Horace Walpole's The Castle of Otranto, which I've already talked about on this channel, so I won't say anything more. We did go on in October and read William Beckford's Vathik and other stories. We were joined by Greg at another Bibliophile Reads for that. It's a very quick read, a very odd read, and I'm not really sure if I liked it or not. It's just the kind of Faustian tale of a man who just has too much. Vathek's the Caliph of Baghdad, and he seems well beloved, and he just wants more and more. So he makes a deal basically with the devil, really. And there's some gruesome and unpleasant incidents, and yeah, I'm not really sure what I think about it. Certainly towards the end, the descriptions of Vathik moving through kind of the realms of hell and stuff were interesting, though the ending itself is a bit odd. I'm not sure what to make of Beckford, the author. So yeah, if you're curious and want something to read that's very short, then maybe check it out. But as I say, it wasn't amazing, although I'm glad I read it, if that makes sense. Okay, the next one I read in October was Daphne du Maurier's The Birds and Other Stories. I already made a video where I talk about the birds, because it was the first story I read. It's the first story in the book. There are 6 stories in total, and they are really good. They're all different. They range from some kind of, what's the word? Mystical story to absurd story to stories about murder, about an apple tree, for example, that's the personification of this man's wife. And then the last story in particular, the last story is very, very nice and interesting, and it has an excellent twist. Certainly I didn't expect it. So yeah, I mean, we all know Daphne du Maurier from Rebecca, which is very popular here on YouTube. Personally, I mentioned in the video I did on Rebecca that I found it a little bit underwhelming, although very enjoyable. But you know, it was hyped up. But my feeling of du Maurier as a writer has really gone up reading these stories, because, as I say, there are 6 stories and they all seem very different in style. And yeah, she really showcases her writing ability in those books. So I would certainly recommend reading that. I've already mentioned in another video, George and Weedon Grossmith's The Diary of a Nobody, which we read as October's pick for the Humorous Book of the Month Club. It's a group we have on Voxer, and if anyone would like to join, just let me know and I'll add you to the group. It's a really fun group with a good bunch of people, and each month we try and choose something humorous that we can read together. And it's quite eclectic, really. It's not all old or Victorian. We've done, so far, what have we done? 3 Men in a Boat. We've done Confederacy of Dunces. We've done Diary of a Nobody. So yeah, they're a little bit older, and the one we're doing now is from the 1930s, which I'll get to in a minute. And also I read the first book back in October, last month, a couple of weeks ago. I read, a few days ago now, isn't it? Sorry, I didn't even know. I read Isaac Asimov's Foundation, book 1. It's something I've always seen around and always wondered whether I should read, because I'm not naturally a sci-fi fan. I actually started watching the series, and I thought, it's quite interesting. Maybe I should check out the book, and I did, and I didn't see many similarities at all, really. I see they changed the gender of the main characters for the series compared to the book, but I understand, I suppose, because there's not a single, there might be 1 or 2 women in very small roles in the book, but certainly it is very male dominated. But the book itself was very interesting. I enjoyed it. And it was kind of curious for me to see some parallels with political situation in some countries, including my own today, that kind of fit the bill with what he's talking about. So perhaps it's a bit scary if it does turn out to be very prophetic. But it was good fun, and I will dip into the other books in the series. I'm not going to go straight out there and read them all, because, as I say, it's not really my genre, but I will certainly check out book 2 at some point, and then take it from there. Okay, I think that's all for October. So what am I reading this month? Well, I'm reading, I'll just go through the one I've got here on the Kindle. I'm reading Nathaniel Philbrick's The Last Stand, Custer's Sitting Bull, and The Battle of the Little Bighorn. I don't really know why. I just kind of was looking through my Kindle to see what I got, and I thought, that looks interesting. And I started reading, and then found myself hooked. I've been recommended his books before, but I haven't read any of them. I know mostly they go along a nautical theme, but this particular one, it's really interesting. I didn't know much about Sitting Bull or Custer, really, other than the fact that they clashed at the Little Bighorn and that Custer came off worse. I didn't come home at all, I suppose. And I knew he was a bit of a maybe ne'er-do-well, and I'd heard it was, he had these long golden locks, and was a bit of a rake. He seems, he was one of the youngest generals, I believe. He became, I think, a general at like 23, but he was a bit of a fool. He did silly things. The book opens actually with him chasing a buffalo across the plains on his horse with his dogs, and he I think he's going to kill it with his pistol because he wants to ride up to it and shoot it, and he keeps aiming his gun at the back of the buffalo's head, and then he decides, no, I'm having far too much fun, I'm not going to do it. And then he does it one time too many, and the buffalo kind of changes direction or rears up. I don't know exactly, but it causes his horse to be scared, and the horse rears up or whatever, and Custer ends up shooting his own horse in the back of the head. So not a fantastic move, is it really? But yeah, it's very well written, and it doesn't just follow Custer and Sitting Bull. It follows he mentions the experiences of other people as well who are involved in this story, and so far so good. Another book I'm reading, I'm actually reading it with a small group of people. It's organized by Carrie again, at Very Literary Carrie, and it includes Summer at Cozy Reading and Quaker Cats, and Pei Vio from Attention. And this, as you can probably guess, as it's organized by Carrie, this is a John F. Kennedy related book, and it's called, sorry, I'm just trying to bring it up here on my Kindle. Where is it? There we go. It's called Jack Kennedy, sorry for the glare there and the reflection, Jack Kennedy, Elusive Hero, by Chris Matthews. And this is a very, very readable and so far very enjoyable account of Kennedy's life. I am a Kennedy novice, outside of the fact I know he was assassinated, and the conspiracy theories, and having watched Oliver Stone's film, I know this much, but I don't know much about his early life and his political career prior to becoming president. But Chris Matthews does a wonderful job. It's an extremely conversational style. It's like you're sitting down with someone and he's telling you the story of Kennedy's life, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm just finished chapter 6, and this chapter took us up to his fight to be elected to the Senate from Massachusetts. In the early days, it recounts his school days, his battle with his illness, which turns out to be Addison's disease, his service during the Second World War. So it's very interesting. I would certainly recommend it so far, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Another one I'm reading, although I'm not too far in, it is also extremely good, and this is The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon. This is a group read I'm doing also with a great group of people. It was organised by Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads, and Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. And it follows the adventures of two young men, and they're both Jewish. They live in New York City. One of them originally comes from here, the Czech Republic, or Prague, and they get involved in like escapology and comic book making and that kind of stuff. But I haven't got into that yet. I'm only, I think about, I am a bit behind. Where am I? Just coming up to, just past rather 30 pages in, but it is very good. I want to concentrate on it more, so I'm kind of trying to get through a couple of other things as well. one I am reading for the pick for the Humorous Book of the Month Club is Evelyn Wars' Scoop, and I'm almost finished it. It's an excellent read, very funny Mickey take rather on journalism. War's language at times is very much of its time. There are quite a few racial epithets that we wouldn't find suitable. Certainly not today or at any time really should they have been suitable, but they seem to have been at his time. And it does leave a little bit of a bad taste in the mouth, but the story is so good that it's kind of, you just have to try and maybe ignore it, really, I suppose, if that's the right course, but that's what I've chosen to do. And I think, it is a book that's well worth reading. Casual racism aside, which is a sad thing to have to say, really. But we have to be very careful, don't we, these days? But still, it's well worth a read. War himself was apparently a terrible person. I was reading something about him where he really was a racist. He was very likely a sympathizer with Nazi Germany and things like this. And one interesting anecdote, he was also a converted Catholic, so he became a Roman Catholic. And I was reading somewhere that somebody asked him and said, how do you reconcile your horrible attitude and beliefs with your Christianity? And all he said was, well, if I wasn't Christian, I would be even more horrible. So there you go. But still, as a book taken on its own, and the story it's well worth checking out. I haven't got a copy of it here, but I'm also reading, or going to read very soon, a book called A Sense of the World. I'm doing this with Faith from Faith and Books and Summer from Cozy Reading and Quaker Cats, and it follows the intrepid adventures of a blind man who travels around the world in the late 18th century, I think, although it could possibly be the early 19th century. I can't remember. I should have had it with me, at least the electronic copy, but I don't, so I apologize for that. But this will all come back in the roundup for the month. I'm looking forward to that very much. Something else I'd like to read, because it's quite small and I would like to get it in, and it's a nice piece of non-fiction, is The Magic Lantern by Timothy Garton Ash, which I recently acquired on one of my haul videos, just a couple of videos back. And it follows the revolutions of '89 and living in a former Warsaw Pact country. I think this will be a very interesting read, and as you see, it really isn't very big at all, and the print is quite large. So I think it's less than 200 pages. So I should be able to read that. And I think potentially the last one, although with me you never know. I seem to just accidentally start things and pick up new things, but I would like to read this as well. I Flew for the Fuhrer, and it's the memoirs of Heinz Nocker, who was a Luftwaffe fighter pilot during the Second World War. And it's one of the few books that gives us an insight to the air war, if you like, from the other side. And apparently it is a very good book, and also not a very big one, coming in at, again, less than 200 pages, 173 pages, so I should hopefully better read that as well, and I think that would be very good. Finishing off yesterday, I made the draw for the Reading Africa 2022 competition, which is where we read books relating to countries we get drawn in the African Nations Cup, which takes place in January next year. And I drew Gambia, or the Gambia. I'm not sure which one's correct because I've seen both written. I have possibly found a book related to that. However, if you have any suggestions, if you know of any books relating to the Gambia or Gambia, please let me know. I would love to check them out. And also, if you have any suggestions as well for the following countries, because Gambia is in a group with a few other countries. Hang on, let me pull that up. Sorry. I would pull it up, but of course, yeah, there we go. So Gambia is in a group with Sudan, Malawi, Comoros Islands, Equatorial Guinea, and Ethiopia. So if you have any recommendations for books set in Sudan, Malawi, Comoros, Equatorial Guinea, Ethiopia, or my own pick, the Gambia, then please let me know, because I will have to track down reading material from those countries. So that's it from me for today. I hope, as I say, you all keep well, and I look forward very much to seeing you all next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.